Preston Bailey. With me in his secret bunker, Cam Vieira. Cam, how you doing today?
I'm good, Preston. Good to be here.
Good to be here. Exciting day. Didn't even know we had our Christmas party today. They gave me tons of cookies and cakes and water and snacks and all the exciting stuff. You didn't even know. Supposedly the email was sent out, but nobody knows. But it's all good. We're not going to worry about all that, all the excitement. I'll tell you what we are going to worry about. What we are going to get excited about. We're going to get excited about Jalen Hurts is Adonis Creed from the Apollos and the Rocky movies. And he is very similar to Taysom Hill, but better. Now, here are your thoughts. Jalen Hurts seems to be polarizing in a positive way. Taysom Hill seems to be polarizing in a positive and a slightly negative way to some people for fantasy purposes. I've seen a lot of trends today starting Jalen Hurts in their fantasy playoffs.
Yep.
That's insane to me. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, did he have that great of a game? He had a great game as far as real life goes. He won the game. He beat the Saints. They threw him into the fire. He came out of the other end.
Beat the best team in the NFC.
I love Jalen Hurts. I loved him in college. I loved him at Alabama. I loved him at Oklahoma his last season when he had a fantastic season. A lot of people were starting to sour a little bit on Jalen Hurts coming out. Was he a second-round pick, third-round pick? I love Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts over many of the other quarterbacks, including the guy that you love, Jordan Love. I think Jalen Hurts is phenomenal. I loved him coming out of college. I loved Philly taking him. Why? Because they took him in the second round, not in the first, which is huge. Also, Carson Wentz is injury-prone, beat up, interception-prone, and Carson Wentz is done. His days in Philly are over. I did
100%.
not think it was possible to get rid of the $60 million anvil that is Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is a $60 million anvil next year that they're going to eat. Now, from many reports, there is a chance they can trade him, but they're still going to have to eat $34 million and change, give or take a percentage or two. If it ends up being 33.5, 34.5, don't get too deep in the weeds. The ballpark range is $34.5 million that the Eagles will have to eat if they trade him. So if they benched him, right, if he's on their team next year, if Jalen Hurts is the greatest offseason, everything is great, we love Jalen Hurts, but they keep him on the bench, it's $60 million if they keep him on the bench. If they cut him, that's $60 million on the bench. And the salary cap is dropping next year because of COVID and many other reasons.
Correct.
So there's no way that if Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback, and I believe he is for this team, there's no way they can keep Carson. There's no way they can cut him because that's a $60 million anvil, and there's no way they can bench him. So they have to trade him. There is no other scenario. They have to trade him. But in regards to a fantasy perspective, he did run for over 100 yards last week, which is unbelievable. The Saints have not given up a 100-yard rusher in over 55 games. They gave up 2 last week. So, Cam, what are your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely. I mean, Carson Wentz's days in Philly, for real, all intents and purposes, have been done for 3 years. It's really just, I mean, once again, they're getting better with his backup. I know it was just one game, but they beat the best team in the NFC, maybe the best team in football last week. Definitely the best defense in the NFC. It's really unbelievable. I mean, every time he goes down or gets benched, the Eagles get better. I don't know what it is. Carson Wentz is talented. He's in his own head. He is done in Philly.
You asked the best question, and I'm going to give you the best answer. You don't know what it is. Well, let's go back with what you just said. Every time the Eagles bench Carson Wentz, they get better. Let's start over. Every time the Eagles bench Carson Wentz, they get better. Let's go to Nick Foles. They get better. Let's go to Nick Foles. They win playoff games. Let's go to Nick Foles. They win a Super Bowl. Okay, surely lightning can't happen again. They bench Carson Wentz. Let's go to the rookie who's got very little reps. They get better. They beat the best team in the NFC, as you said, as I agree with. And the Saints, many people felt a week ago, was the best team in the NFL. And you could make that argument with their team, with their defense, with Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill, and all the weapons. And they won. Yes. And guess what? The defense for Philadelphia is pretty good. They have been crapped on all year long. They're very aggressive. They sacked Taysom Hill 5 times, and I love Taysom Hill. As you know, I had him in fantasy. I started him at tight end. I was one of those few rare people that got lucky. They got to start him at tight end weeks back, his first debut, which I love. I love getting 25 points from my tight end, and he starts at quarterback. But having said, Here are the two teams. And here I'm going to dive into this before we get to the two teams. I want to say this. He has to go. I think Carson Wentz is talented. I do think he's talented. I don't think he's a dumpster fire. I wouldn't give up on him. You know, as you always tell me, don't give up on this guy. I'm not giving up on Carson Wentz. His time in Philly is over. Okay.
He needs a new start.
Excuse me. He needs a fresh start for all the reasons that we've mentioned. He needs a fresh start. You can't go to a city in Philly. Look, if this happened in a more progressive area like a San Francisco or Seattle, a more easygoing, lovey-dovey place, maybe it could have worked out. Okay?
Not Philly.
Not in Philly. Philly.
He's very lucky there haven't been fans in the stadium this year.
Philly, you're right. You are correct. You are lucky there's no fans in that stands because they would have beat the tar out of him. They would have beat him worse than they beat up Santa Claus. He would have got a mega battery to the face because they hate Carson Wentz. Because every day Carson Wentz rolls in his Rolls Royce, rolls in that Mercedes-Benz, and his luxury vehicle, going to the stadium, going to the facility, and what does he see? He sees a golden statue of the great Nick Foles. That haunts him forever.
Absolutely.
That would haunt the most super cold ice water in their veins clutch performer. That would rattle. Carson Wentz is not Mr. Ice Water, okay? He's not even Mr. Ice Bucket. Carson Wentz is soft. Carson Wentz is brittle. He needs a fresh start. They need to treat Carson Wentz like a game manager, okay? A team like a Cleveland could use a Carson Wentz, a team that has a power running game, a solid to okay defense, that manages, goes to the running backs, goes to the tight ends, has a couple big plays to Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham when he's healthy, the big play receivers. That's how they need to march to Carson Wentz. So here are our two teams. Are you ready, Cam?
Yes.
Before we get to the two teams, we appreciate you liking the video, but make sure you like and make sure you hit that damn subscribe button. Punch that like, punch that subscribe button, send it to all your friends. Whether you love Philly, hate Philly, love Carson Wentz, like and subscribe to the channel. So here are the two teams. Top two teams. The first team, the natural fit is, of course, Indianapolis.
I would agree.
For multiple reasons. Number one, he reunites with his old coach. Okay?
Correct. Got the best out. Yes.
Good old Frank. That is where he had his most success with. That is the most logical choice. He's comfortable with that offense. That team, referring to the Colts, is perfect for him. This is Philip Rivers' last year. Period. Yes. This is his last year.
He's done.
Okay? He's done. This is his last year. It's over.
They're in the playoffs in spite of him. Correct.
This year, Indy also had most pay doled out to quarterbacks. Jacoby Brissett is one of the highest paid backups in the league. Philip Rivers this year at 25 plus million, excuse me, is one of the highest paid guys in the league. What are your thoughts on that, Cam?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's a good fit. Frank Reich obviously got the best out of him. The best year of Carson Wentz's career before we get hurt was that year when Frank Reich was running the offense in Philly. I think that is a good fit. I mean, he's got a great O-line there, obviously, keep him protected. Great defense. They would turn. All he would need to do there is, yes, run the system, manage the game. He'd be good there. Yes.
He would be a great fit, as the reasons you pointed out. And they still have T.Y. Hilton. I know he's getting old. T.Y. Hilton is still one of the most explosive receivers in the game. Aqib Talib was on Cowherd's show this week, and he said that T.Y. Hilton was the hardest receiver that he had to guard one-on-one because he was small, fast. He was quick, he was fast, he was shifty, much like a Tyreek Hill. Those are the guys that are 5'9", 5'10", but 170 pounds. Those are the guys that are hard to catch. You can't physically grab them. He said the DK Metcalf, the Julio Jones, the big, strong, healthy guys, those guys were easy for him because he could play physical with them and he can muddy up the game. So, like you pointed out, with Frank Reich, teaming up with his old coach, he's done a great job in Indy. They've got a great offensive line. They've got a great stable of running backs. They've got solid receivers. They have a great defense. They got a couple solid tight ends. He would be perfect for that system, and he would be loved. Indy would love Carson Wentz. They would love him. He would be one of their own. They would see him, kind of as a blue-collar guy, but as a workhorse. They would see him a lot how they saw Andrew Luck, a lot how they saw Peyton Manning. They would greatly appreciate him. What people don't understand about Carson Wentz's situation, everybody knows who Carson Wentz is, and everybody in Philly knows football. When he goes in the morning to get his Egg McMuffin and his coffee or whatever he has, or his bagel or his Dunkin' Donuts, the guy making his donut and coffee is like, oh, hey, look at that. Look who it is in line. It's Carson Wentz. And the other guy's like, Carson Wentz. Oh, you mean the guy that's not clutch? You mean the guy that can't stay healthy? That Carson Wentz? Here's your bagel, Carson Wentz. And that's how his day starts every day at 7 a.m. That's how the day starts every day for him. You got to get out of that toxic environment. Get out.
Yes.
When he goes to Indy, here you go, Mr. Wentz. Here's a little extra muffin. Oh, it's a different culture. It's a different feel, okay?
I'll have some anonymity, right?
Right. He needs that. He grew up in a small town, North Dakota. That's what he needs. He needs Indy. He needs Kansas City. He needs these small town teams, right?
He's not wired for Philly. I agree.
He's not wired for Philly. He doesn't have the blood. He doesn't have the makeup. Jalen Hurts is wired for that. Jalen Hurts is a tremendous athlete. He's a tremendous football player. What are your thoughts?
No, absolutely. And I'm with you. Jalen Hurts, to me, was the fourth best quarterback coming out of this draft, behind the top three, obviously Burrow, Tua, and Justin Herbert. And I think, Philly has always invested in their backup quarterback. It's a core philosophy of that organization. Remember, they had Vic and McNabb, Vic and Cobb. Then they had Foles again behind Vic. Then they had Wentz and Foles. They've always invested big in their backup quarterback. They brought Vince Young in, if you remember. It's always been a core philosophy of that team. I think it was a good move taking Jalen Hurts, and now it's paying off.
It is taking off. It was a little thrown back when the GM this week said we want to be a football factory. I thought that's an odd. It's just an odd. I get you want to be a football factory.
But that sounds like you develop players to go to other teams.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, you're exactly right. So the other team, and I really want to get your opinion on this, that I think is a possibility, because Indy makes sense from all the reasons we gave, but Indy might not pull the trigger for a multitude of reasons. They might not pull the trigger. The trade package, this is not a simple deal. This arbitrage of a contract in Carson Wentz, which
Philly's going to want a lot in return. Absolutely.
Well, Philly's going to want a lot in return, but the team taking him is going to want a lot in return.
They want to restructure the deal, yeah.
Right. They're going to restructure that deal is a horrible deal. I said it at the time.
Might be the worst contract in the league.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe they did it with 2 years to go.
Yes, they did it after his third year. Yeah,
after his third year, which is putrid. Yep. That's terrible business.
That's the way it's been done. He got his after his third year. So did Goff. And then this past offseason was after Mahomes and Watson's third year. They each got their extensions.
Yeah, and that was terrible. Okay,
so Josh Allen's is coming this offseason. Lamar Jackson's is coming this offseason. And so is Baker Mayfield's.
Well, you can say it's coming, but, most teams, next year, the salary cap for the first time ever is going to drop.
Correct, because of the lack of attendance.
Because of COVID, attendance, and many other factors, okay? So keep that in mind. The other team I want to get to, and we're going to wrap it up with this in about 3 or 4 minutes. New England.
Yes.
Who else? First of all, Cam Newton. I know the guy. I'm not even going to try to sell Cam Newton to you guys, because if I say Cam Newton in New England, it's like saying Carson Wentz in Philly. There's no interest for it. Am I right?
No, you're right. Look, I give Cam Newton a lot of credit. He's been a great teammate. Bought into Belichick's coaching. He's pumped up all his guys all year long. He's been a great teammate. He's just washed up. He just doesn't have it anymore. He can't throw the ball. His shoulder is shot.
If it was me, in a perfect scenario, I understand he's probably got to leave, but I would say if he was willing to take a bargain deal, bring Cam Newton as the backup. As a backup.
With Wentz for the job?
No. If Wentz comes in, Wentz is the guy. No, yes. There's no competing. You can say the word competing. Bill Belichick can say competing. No. You keep Cam Newton as a backup.
He tried to tell us Newton and Stidham was the competition this year. That turned out to be nonsense. So
we knew that was nonsense. I knew. No, not we. I don't want to say we. We as in me. I knew it was nonsense. You did it. There's still something in your brain that's got this fantasy with Jared Stidham that you need to get that fantasy out of your brain. Okay. You got a better chance of hooking up and meeting your dream girl, Miley Cyrus, than Jared Stidham does of starting 16 games next year. So you better get Miley on the phone. You better get her on Snapchat, okay? so let's get that reality. But regarding Carson Wentz, let's for the purpose of this conversation, let's call it $35 million in dead cap for Philly, okay? They're going to have to eat that, and I think it's a good idea. Why? Take the beating.
Everyone needs a new start.
Everybody needs a new start. Man, I'm coughing like crazy. Sorry about that. It's crazy. It's pandemonium. It's pandemonium. All kinds of excitement. New England needs to get on that phone. Get on that phone. Get the phone. Get your iPhone. Pick up the phone. Call Philly. Make whatever deal you can. Would I trade a first-round draft pick for Carson Wentz? Absolutely not. I would not give up a first-round draft pick. No.
Especially the Patriots are going to have their highest first-round pick in decades. So, yes, absolutely. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not just about their highest pick in decades. I wouldn't give up if they had the 32nd pick. I wouldn't give up the first round pick for Carson Wentz.
I agree.
Okay, I'm just telling you from a business standpoint. Would I give up a second round pick for Carson Wentz? Yeah, I would give. I would consider. I would try to give up less. I mean, I'm hearing rumors that there could be a third or fourth round pick just due to the salary, because he doesn't have it with injuries, with the huge salary. There's some upside, but not as much as other guys would be upside wise historically, right?
No, I agree.
So what I would do, so you've got step A is Indy. Step B, okay, is New England. He would fit their system. He would fit Bill Belichick. Josh McDaniels would love him. They could do a lot of things, mobile-wise, shifting the pocket-wise, play action-wise, down the field-wise, every way you could. Carson Wentz can make all the throws if in the right system that's catered to him. And the fact that New England's done a good job of running the ball this year with Damian Harris, some of the other running backs, I think he would complement them well. If New England could just get a receiver, if they could figure out once in a lifetime how to get a receiver that is a top-tier receiver and not a retread that Tom Brady gives full screen passes to. Chris Godwin. Get it, Chris Godwin. Right. You're trying to get rid of all my guys. But, yeah, so Chris Godwin and so on and so forth. So, but make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead before we wrap this up.
There's one other team. We'll make this quick that I think could be in the running for Carson Wentz. One other. San Francisco. Because they're moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo after this year. Because the coach just doesn't, he can't, first of all, he can't stay healthy, and B, the coach just does not believe in him. I think it's apparent. Kyle Shanahan does not believe in Jimmy Garoppolo. So I can see San Francisco potentially being in the running for Carson Wentz.
I could see them in the running, but my question to you is, if you're San Fran, you're taking your Jimmy G, you're taking a beat-up, high-paid guy.
And replacing him with another.
Replacing him with another beat-up, high-paid guy. I mean, you might as well just keep Jimmy G. To me, Carson Wentz and Jimmy G are about as close to equal. They're about as close to equal as you're going to find. Now, if I'm New England, I know New England, you guys got this weird nostalgia with Stidham and Jimmy G and this guy and that guy. Forget all those guys. Focus on getting Carson Wentz. Excuse me. Get that buttoned up and get that wrapped up, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit me up at Smash TV Radio. What are your thoughts, Cam, before we wrap this bad boy up on that?
Yes, hit the subscribe button, like and subscribe. You can find me on Twitter at Cam and Taunton. Absolutely.
Send the angry tweets to Cam. If you think he's crazy for thinking that Carson Wentz could end up in San Fran, hit in the comments. Thanks again. See ya.
See you.